What's going on, everyone? LA Sports back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Jack Campbell, and I'm going to actually be doing the first video in this little series that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing a couple of series, and I'm going to do them every once in a while, but especially in the off season. But right now, the series that I'm going to be starting is this one. Obviously, the series of should the Toronto Maple Leafs bring back, and then the player. And then Toronto Maple Leafs potential free agent targets, as well as Toronto Raptors free agent targets. So this first video of this quote-unquote series is going to feature Jack Campbell. Should the Toronto Maple Leafs bring back Jack Campbell? Now, this is a very difficult topic, of course. And this is obviously a topic that's getting a lot of volume and a lot of talk around the NHL and around, sports around the city of Toronto, obviously, because being the goalie of the Toronto Maple Leafs is one of the most important and toughest and most highly talked about jobs there is. Let's start off with my opinion and what I think about Jack Campbell. I think Jack Campbell is a solid goaltender, without a doubt. He was drafted in 2010, 11th overall. He's 30 years old. He's going to be 31 halfway through the 2022-2023 season. So there's no doubt Jack Campbell is capable of winning games in the NHL. We've seen it. Last season, Jack Campbell was unbelievable. He was pretty lights out. Of course, he was versing some easier opponents. Still, no opponent in the NHL is easy, but he was versing just all Canadian sides. So you take a look at his stats over the course of his career and over the course of the last couple of years. Jack Campbell last season was terrific. Like I said, in 22 starts, he was 12-3-2. 17-3-2. Of course, 17 wins, 3 losses, and 2 overtime losses. So Jack Campbell was phenomenal. He had a goals against average of 2.15, a save percentage of 92.1%. And then this season, he was very good again. He was 31-9-6 with a 2.64 goals against average in 47 starts. He had 5 shutouts with a save percentage of 91.4%. So there's no question Jack Campbell was solid in his 2 years with the Toronto Maple Leafs, his 2 years of getting starts with the Toronto Maple Leafs. But that being said, winning games in the regular season and winning games in the playoffs is a whole different animal. I'm not questioning Jack Campbell because he's a solid goaltender. He came in and he was very solid. He had some, very, very good games for the Leafs. He was very good since the Leafs traded for him. And the only concern is how much money are you going to give Jack Campbell? And with the Leafs being in the situation they are with the, cap, where it is for the team, it's awfully tough. There's no question about it. For the Leafs, they have to get Campbell on a cost-effective deal. Now, would I re-sign Jack Campbell? Absolutely. I would re-sign Jack Campbell. I would bring him, back on a 4 or 5 year deal, but I wouldn't spend more than $4.5 million. And I think if Jack Campbell gets to the free agent market, I think someone will overpay for him. I think someone will give him $5.5 to $6 million. And that's not a knock on Jack Campbell. I just don't think Jack Campbell is worth that type of money that some of the superstar goaltenders are making. You take a look at Igor Shesterkin, he's not making, a crazy number. He's making around $6 million. So if you ask yourself, is Jack Campbell worth the same amount of money as Igor Shesterkin? The answer to that question is unfortunately not. I think the two sides are in a bit of a difficult spot because if you look at it from both perspectives, you take a look at it from the Toronto Maple Leafs perspective. Obviously, Jack Campbell's been your starting goalie the past, season and a half. So at the end of the day, you're obviously going to want him back. You're going to try and do anything you can to bring him back. But at the same time, you want it at a cost-effective amount and, make it smart for the team, obviously, as they're looking at it from a team side. They're obviously going to respect the player, but at the same time, they have to do what's best for the organization. And if you're looking at it from Jack Campbell's perspective, well, this is the moment he's worked hard for, right? To get to free agency, to unrestricted free agency, and try and cash in. This will be his only opportunity to cash in, and free agency just works in the way that teams will always overpay for what they need, right? I mean, you take a look at, UFAs, and they've gotten some more money than maybe they deserved. And especially with Jack Campbell being one of the only, he's probably the number 2 goaltender on the market, the other one being Fleury, who, really might only be down to 2 teams or so. I think Campbell's really the leading target for a lot of teams in the market. So it's going to cause a bidding war, and it might cause some teams to unfortunately have to overpay. And it's unfortunate for the Toronto Maple Leafs because it's just might be into a range that they don't, and they're not able to spend into. So it's going to be very, very difficult. But we'll see how it ultimately plays out. If I were the Toronto Maple Leafs, I would try to re-sign Jack Campbell. I think he's an important part to the hockey team. But at the same time, you got to look at it from a team perspective. And if it doesn't make total sense for the team, and if it's too expensive, you got to go get some other goaltenders out there. Some names that the Leafs might target, it would probably have to be a trade, but some names the Leafs might target is a guy like John Gibson. He's a guy that the Leafs might go after. Maybe Alexander Georgiev, as Shesterkin's running away with the number 1 job, and it doesn't look like he's going to turn back. So maybe the Leafs can groom Georgiev into a number 1 goaltender at a very good price. We'll see what the Leafs ultimately do, but if the Leafs can get Campbell at around 5 years, $20 million, or 4 years, $18 million, I think it makes a ton of sense. But we'll see ultimately what happens. I would re-sign him, like I said, if you can get him at a cost-effective deal, but you have to factor in that you need to put the money in a lot of directions, so you can't give Campbell too much money, as much as I'd love for him to be the starting goalie. And I know Campbell would love to be the starting goalie of the Toronto Maple Leafs, but you guys let me know down in the comment section your thoughts. Would you re-sign Campbell at what cost? Let me know all that good stuff down in the comment section. As always, please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We'll see you guys on the next video. Go Leafs, go.